Coming up in the program, bright lights in the sky, blues picnic, rates rebates and art policy, both sides of the debate. Kia ora, welcome to Central News for Thursday the 12th of February. I'm Hilary Entwistle. Reports flew in last night at about 10 p.m. from Tauranga, Hamilton and the rest of the country as flashes of blue light and sonic booms lit up the sky. People took to social media immediately, speculating it was lightning. However, the official Twitter page for Auckland Civil Defence and Emergency Management says it was definitely not lightning and most likely a meteor. A total of 41 local secondary school students were presented on Monday with a tertiary study award valued at $2,000 per year for a maximum of 4 years. The Rotorua Energy Charitable Trust presented the students with their award at a special ceremony held at Rotorua Convention Centre. Trust Deputy Chairman Joanne Lagrau says the Trust is pleased to have offered nearly 900 tertiary study awards since the scheme began in 1996. Chiefs player Tim Nanai Williams has taken a gamble by mixing IRB World Sevens tournaments with his Super Rugby champion, but it is confident his Sevens experience playing for his homeland Samoa is helping his Super Rugby game. Nanai Williams has now played 3 of the 4 World Circuit rounds he needs to play to switch his eligibility from New Zealand to Samoa in the 15-a-side game for this year's Rugby World Cup, as well as for Sevens at next year's Rio Olympics, having previously represented this country at Sevens. He will play the last one of those tournaments for Samoa in Glasgow in May when the Chiefs have their second round. The University of Waikato is calling on staff and students to put down their laptops and books and pick up hammers and nails to be part of the Habitat build taking place on campus. The Blitz build, taking place during O Week, is a collaborative project between Habitat for Humanity and the university. The project will see staff and students volunteering their time or money to build a 4-bedroom house in 8 days, which will then be moved to a family in Tiro. Waikato University Vice Chancellor Professor Neil Quigley says the build is an opportunity for the university community to work together for a great cause. Building will start on Wednesday the 25th of February and finish on Friday the 6th of March at the end of O Week, and the building will move off-site on Sunday 8th of March. Now for our region's weather tomorrow, Hamilton, it will be fine with light winds, a high of 26 and a low of 13. For the rest of the Waikato, mainly fine, isolated afternoon and evening showers with light winds. Paeroa 26 and 14, Matamata 24 and 13, Te Awamutu 26 and 13, Tokoroa 25 and 11. For Tauranga, expect fine weather and light winds with a high of 25 and a low of 15. For the rest of the Bay, plenty, mainly fine with isolated afternoon and evening showers and light winds. Te Puke, a high of 24 and a 14 low. Marine forecast now, west coast, Raglan, southwest 15 knots developing on Friday evening, high tide is 5:31 p.m. East coast, Bay of Plenty, southeast 15 knots, high tide is at 2:33 in the afternoon. Still to come on Central News, we look at a blues picnic, rates rebates, but after the break, we look at both sides of the debate around the art policy in Tauranga. Welcome back to Central News on TV Central. The draft policy for Tauranga's public art has caused a bit of stir around the city. Most ratepayers are concerned about funding, so I spoke with the council's policy analyst, Melanie Atkins, about whether there is a suggested budget for public art.
No, there's no budget set by this policy. It's really about creating a clear and transparent process whereby people can come to council with an application, to develop or donate a piece of art. Cities in New Zealand deal with funding for art in different ways. So some councils fund public art, other councils don't. In many cities there's a trust, often funded by private businesses. So the Wellington Sculpture Trust has been putting sculptures on public land in Wellington since 1983. They've got a pretty extensive collection, and that's been done with private funding in partnership with council. Hamilton, an organisation called Mesh has just started up in recent years, and they're doing the same thing. So there's different ways of funding, and this policy isn't about how it will be funded, it's about the process of application.
What is the list of criteria for the acceptance?
Sure. Artistic excellence, innovation and quality, that's obviously a big one. Environmental fit, impact, durability and ongoing maintenance, accessibility and safety. Those are the things that we'll be looking at in a piece of art.
Tell me more about this Public Art Advisory Group. Who's going to be a part of it?
Sure. The Public Art Advisory Group, their role will be to advise council on significant pieces of art to ensure that council's getting high quality outcomes for public art for the city. It'll be made up of a mixture of staff and volunteers, so there'll be up to 3 council staff, really to look at asset management, the people who are in charge of the piece of footpath or the park or the building where that piece of artwork's going to go, because they'll be doing the maintenance for potentially years to come. So that they've got an input, can advise council on that, and then up to 5 external members. So there'll be 4 members who are, up to 6 external members. 4 of those will be arts, people with arts expertise really in different forms of art, visual, urban design, architecture, those kinds of things. People who've run or curated galleries, people who have some knowledge about public art and can comment on the quality of the art. We're also looking for a tangata whenua representative, or a proposed one. We've also proposed a community representative so that we can have different viewpoints from representatives of the public, from tangata whenua, and they may be artists, they may not. Yeah.
Will there be a Māori element to the policy?
Council's not presuming to tell artists what kind of art to create or what type or by whom. That's really left up to the artists. We are, by proposing a tangata whenua representative on the advisory board, we are anticipating that there will be pieces of Māori artwork or artwork by Māori artists that we'd be looking for advice on.
Will there be cultural artworks or something that's kind of going to be for tourists?
Depends what you mean by that. Certainly in terms of our criteria for artistic excellence, innovation and quality, that talks about looking for artworks that are a draw card for visitors, that will attract visitors to Tauranga. Is it something that's going to have an international reputation and attract people here to see it? Yeah.
Is this more bureaucracy when it's just simply not needed?
I don't think so. I hope not. Certainly the idea is to make it easier. So artists have said, we don't know what the process is if we want to create art on public land. How do we do that? Who gets to do that? Who decides? And this really is about making that clear and transparent to both artists and staff. Yeah.
One man who is not happy with the draft policy is Pat Spellman of Moana Iwi Radio.
Yes, so it's their draft public arts policy. It's basically an indication of where they're going with the, I suppose, all the architecture of the creativity that is Tauranga and our city and where we're going in terms of our brand. So, well, that's what I understand it to be, and I've read it. Well, I've read the 6 pages that they've released about 5 times now, and it seems pretty clear what direction they're going in, and it's a disappointing one if you ask me.
Why do you think it's disappointing?
Well, there's no, I mean, the reason why obviously we're talking today is because there's no cultural sort of component to it, and well, basically there's no Toi Māori component to it, which is an emphasis placed on, you know, how they can incorporate tikanga te reo and also tell Māori and a creative sort of Māori aspect to the concept. And I'm so sort of stoked at the moment that it's a draft policy, because it means that they have an opportunity to right the wrong, but the indications that I'm getting at the moment is that this isn't a draft policy, this is it. And so this is where we're going. They're asking for public submissions, but they're not asking for involvement via the iwi or the Tangata Whenua Collective, which I think is quite disappointing.
They have stated, though, that the Tangata Whenua Collective will have a board member on the art group. Is that not enough?
Yes and no. I think it's good for a start that they are consulting with that collective, and that's probably a step in the right direction. What is interesting though is that they're asking for a member of the Tangata Whenua Collective to be part of that consultation phase when Tangata Whenua Collective is made up of kaumātua and kuia. So not really, people with an extensive knowledge into the creative community and where to from here in terms of what we're hoping for in terms of a Māori sort of feel for the architecture of our brand. So, I mean, it's a step in the right direction. Consultation is a great thing, but I think an emphasised point would be that they need to be asking the right people to be doing the right things as opposed to just a token gesture and a tick in the right direction.
Who are the right people then?
Oh, well, I mean, I don't. There's a lot of really creative Māori people and a lot of really, creative Māori artists that they could start by, talking to the iwi and having a yarn with them about some of the people that they're funded, for example. Some of the programs that have been put through the different iwi groups are amazing, and there's some really, really creative, talented, capable people. The people behind the Puka Hinehina exhibition, for example, would be the first, a lot of people that I'd talk to, because they've got a database of many, many, many people that we could talk to, but that's for the council to decide whether or not they go in that direction.
Why is that aspect of Toi Māori so important for this council policy?
Because we're in Tauranga Moana, we're in Aotearoa, we're in New Zealand. It's important to me, and it's important to most people that I've spoken to, that we have a cultural component. That's not just a Māori component, but a cultural component, so that we really sort of stick to the fact that we are a culturally diverse city. Why I think it should be emphasised that a Māori point of view is sort of strictly adhered to in terms of moving forward is because, if we don't really, in 2015, we're in a situation now where we have to start realising that this is Aotearoa, and Tauranga has come so far in the last sort of 3-4 years in terms of a post-treaty settlement phase, and the iwi are ready to play ball now, and it's disappointing that the City Council seem not to be.
Some are arguing that Tauranga Moana isn't that culturally diverse. 16% is the Māori population of Tauranga.
Oh, and those people are going to continue to argue that, but I don't think it's about the quantity of people, more the quality of the cultural sort of aspects that we do have here. I think regardless of whether or not there's one Māori or there's 150,000 Māori, we're in Aotearoa, we're in New Zealand. The fact that the policy that they've put out, or the draft policy that they've put out at the moment, states that a huge emphasis of the creativity is about the tourism sector, and so maybe it's not really serving the people that live here per se, but more making available the culture so that when people do visit Tauranga, they see us for what it is, and that is a part of New Zealand.
There is a drop-in session being held on Tuesday, the 24th of February at Creative Tauranga in the CBD from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Make sure you go along and have your say. Up after the break, we've got rates rebates and picnicking with blues music. Welcome back to Central News. Rates rebates. What does it mean and who is eligible? Now, rates rebates, what exactly is it?
It's a low-income, it's a scheme provided for low-income earners. It's put out by the Department of Internal Affairs, and councils administer it on their behalf. Yeah.
So who is eligible? You said it's low income, so how low income do you kind of have to be?
It's roughly around 25,000, although however if you earn more or less than that, you still may be eligible, and you might just get a partial rebate rather than the full amount. Yeah.
Now, what is the value of a rebate? I mean, is it a particular number for every single person, or?
No, the maximum rebate is set for this year is $605. So, like I said before, if somebody earns, say, over that 25,000, they may get a rebate of $300 or something along those lines. So it's still a contribution towards their rates.
Do you have many people actually applying for their rebate?
We've got about 1,200 a year. However, we've been told for our district there's about 3,000 out there that should qualify. So there's only half, unfortunately, getting these rebates, which we want to increase, obviously.
Because, I mean, how much of a percentage of your actual overall rates would it be?
Well, average rates are around $2,000 a year. So if they got the $605 rebate, that's a quarter of your annual rate bill, so it's a huge saving if people can qualify for this.
Yeah, definitely, especially if you're on that lower income. I mean, $600
Big
is a
help.
lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do we actually go about and get a rates rebate?
It's actually really simple. We make appointments, so you can make an appointment at any of our Matamata, Morans or Aotearoa offices, either by phoning or calling in, and we make an appointment for you. Appointments take about 10 minutes. There's a little bit of information that we need you to provide, but other than that, it's really simple, and then we give you money.
And who doesn't want free money?
Exactly, yeah.
Are you finding that why do you think people don't apply for it?
I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure if they're just not aware that this scheme exists, or if they're a little bit hesitant about, what they needed to do or and how they needed to go about it, if it was too hard. But honestly, it's not hard. It's very simple, and we'll help you all we can. Yeah.
Because you said it is a national scheme, so it's it's all around the country. Why do we not hear more about it?
I'm not too sure really. We're trying to, in Little Matamata Piako, get it out there because we want to help people as much as we can with their rates. We know it's not easy out there, and so whatever we can do to help, we're here, yeah.
So say if I did apply for my rates rebate, what's going to happen? Are you going to give me $600 in cash straight away? Or?
That'd be nice, wouldn't it? No, unfortunately it doesn't work that. So it is a rebate on your rate. So what happens is we send the applications away to the Department of Internal Affairs. They do audit these applications, and then they'll refund council the money, which is then applied to your rates. So we can definitely help further though, like it will, if you're paying automatic payments and things like that, it can reduce what you're paying, and we can work out those payments for you. And we've got a really good record. We've had no returns from Department of Internal Affairs, so we must be doing a good job.
So just remind us again, who is eligible, how much we can get and how to do it.
Okay, so anybody that was living at their property or the house that they own on 1st of July 2014, that's a low income earner, but hey, just talk to us. We can help around that side, and yeah, just come in and bring in your information, make an appointment, and we'll sort you out.
You can visit any of the Matamata Piako Council offices to find out more about rates rebates. And our last story for tonight, if you like blues music and picnicking, you may like to head along to the Marchwood Blues Picnic.
You can expect to see a fabulous lineup of musicians and entertainment for 9 hours, barring the 10 to 15 minutes changeover between bands. So we keep it really tight. Nice professional operation.
It's a good time to go to the toilet.
Peter Archer's running it. Okay. Don't screw up, because Pete will get angry.
But it's good because you give everyone a bit of time to go to the toilet or get something to eat.
Yeah, or go to the bar, or
yeah.
And speaking of toilets, we have these flash dunnies from Superloo that are all tiled and got the proper bathroom thingy going on in there. And
you know what? You almost sold me on that alone, because there is nothing worse than a grubby portaloo.
My wife wouldn't have a bar of a portaloo. That's it. End of story. There's no. It's either 5-star hotel, or nothing. Right? Okay. We don't do tents.
Woman of my own heart.
I have a hammock hanging up under the pine trees down by the creek, just so that I can go and hide.
Now, toilets aside,
Yes,
what with the actual music, who will be playing?
Josh Durning up first. He's acoustic guitarist. Then Black Velvet, that's Tara Watson and her band. Then Darren Watson from Wellington. Then Tony Joe White from America. Then the Flaming Mudcats from Auckland. And then the Peter Archer band to finish the night off.
I've heard they're pretty good.
They're hot. They're hot. They jump on hot. Yeah.
So you're kind of going to start it off with a more acoustic slow feel,
well,
and then
people want to sit down and eat the crayfish and the oysters and stuff like that. I mean, I'm amazed at some of the food people bring along to my picnic, mate. It just blows me away, and I go, "Well, can I share?"
I love this idea that it's a concert with a picnic. We don't have many of those nowadays, do we? Because you're not allowed to bring your own food and bring your own drink and that kind of thing.
Well, now there's an issue with the BYO thing, the licensing carry-on. They're going to change all the rules because of these idiots in Gisborne.
Yes,
right?
yes,
So now
yeah.
they've shifted the goalposts. However, they've let us carry on with what we're going to do this year. Next year, it's going to be a whole different ballgame. Yeah.
So why did you start this? We have, Tauranga has been a little bit of we've got the Jazz Festival and then we've got Blues, Brews and Barbecues and that kind of thing. We do have this kind of jazz blues little hub here. Why did you is that why you wanted to start it? There's lots of artists here?
There's lots of artists here. I've tended to, in the past, have a lot of local artists. I want to give everybody a shot, it's like, and we've had some fantastic local artists, Chris Gunn and guys like him, just great, Mike Garner. I started it off basically because there wasn't a decent blues gig around, end of story. Blues, Brews and Barbecues was hardly that, right? And full of idiot factor. So my target audience is the 40 plus audience, although we had a few people there last year that really enjoyed themselves and in fact blew me away the amount of young people that came up to me and said, thanks Pete, we've had the most awesome day, so that sort of, gives me a few feathers and things.
Something told me it was over. When I saw you and that girl talking, something deep down in my soul said, cry, girl. When I saw you and that girl walking out, and I would rather be blind, boy, than to see you walk away from me, child. No. So you see, I love you so much that I don't want to watch you leave me, baby.
Check out their website for more information. It looks like it's going to be a fun day. That is Central News for today. If you'd like to get in contact with us, you can via our Facebook page, centralnews.tv, or you can email us news@tvcentral.co.nz. On tomorrow night's program, we look at the Trucking Festival coming up in Matamata, and we talk with some locals who are employed but do need help from charities. It's quite an interesting interview. Until then, I'm Hilary Entwistle. I hope you have a lovely evening.
This has been an Alpha Media production, a division of Television Media Group.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.